In every Pokemon game, every single move has an accuracy percentage. This means that every move can either miss or never miss. Some moves that can never miss are moves like Fake Out and Sucker Punch. These moves can never miss the opponent's Pokemon at all, even if they have lowered the Pokemon's accuracy. Usually, the moves that never miss are moves that support your team, usually with healing, priority of moves, priority of speed, priority of raising special attack, special defense, and all that. So, usually, these moves are put on supporter Pokemon, which don't really do a lot of damage, but which don't do damage and usually just set up for your Pokemon to get stronger and do more damage. And to make it a living hell for your opponent's Pokemon, especially with one guy called Amoongus, who constantly puts your Pokemon to sleep no matter what. There are some moves that have a 85% accuracy. This means that there is a 15% chance that the move misses the target. Some moves that have an 85% accuracy would be moves like Fire Blast, and the move that will be very relevant in today's video, Will-O-Wisp. There are even moves that are as low as 30% accuracy, and these moves have the power to one-shot the target Pokemon. And some of these moves would be Guillotine and Fissure. And there's even a super secret move that not many people actually know about. A move so accurate that I can never miss no matter what the scenario is. And that move is called hitting the subscribe button. Don't believe me? Well, how about you try it for yourself and see? So, in summary, stronger moves have a lower accuracy. Makes sense, right? But you might be wondering, how does Will-O-Wisp, a status move with an 85% accuracy rate, relate to the most unluckiest Pokemon player of all time? Well, let me tell you, or should I say, well, let me show you. This is the most unluckiest Pokemon player of all time. His name is Aaron Cybertron Zeng. And some of you guys might be familiar with Aaron and his unfortunate luck, and more specifically, unfortunate luck with one certain move, Will-O-Wisp. So, let me explain the context for Aaron Zeng's incredible non-existent luck with Will-O-Wisp and in Pokemon. So, the year is 2013. We are in top 4 of the World Championships, the biggest Pokemon tournament of all time for the year. The current generation used to play in the tournament, and VGC is Pokemon Black and White 2, Gen 5. And this generation was Gen 5. And in this specific generation, Will-O-Wisp wasn't the 85% accurate move we know today. No. In this generation, Will-O-Wisp had a 75% accuracy rate. This means that instead of the move only having a 15% chance of missing the target, it had a 25% chance of missing the target. You might be thinking to yourself, that still doesn't sound that bad, right? A 3/4 chance of hitting the opponent seems pretty decent, right? Well, you might think that, but in Pokemon, or more specifically for Aaron Zeng, that is a very high-risk move to use, especially in a VGC map. So, now that I've explained the context of why Will-O-Wisp made Aaron Zeng the most unluckiest Pokemon player of all time, how about I show you what happened?
And the first attack of the game is a miss as Stonehenge misses, but Rotom's Will-O-Wisp also missing. That Protect doesn't want to get burnt by Rotom. And it does. Oh, and the Avoid comes out.
Hopefully both the trainers give their Pokemon a pep talk this game to help them aim a little bit better, because they were losing turns mostly to accuracy last game, and I see that hasn't changed.
And the Will-O-Wisp out from Rotom also are going to be avoided, but it is going to try for another Will-O-Wisp. Will it hit? No, of course not. Aaron's Pokemon really putting forth the effort for this last game of this best of 3. The confusion. Rotom gets the Will-O-Wisp. And it is! Rotom finally gets a Will-O-Wisp to connect!
Yeah, you see why now, but I want you to take a guess of the chances of Will-O-Wisp missing 5 times in a row. Maybe 1 in 100, maybe even 1 in 500 chances. No, you would be far off on that. The actual chances of Will-O-Wisp missing 5 times in a row is a whopping 1 in 1,000 chance of happening. And now I want you to try and have a guess of the percentage of that happening. Maybe 10%, 5%, maybe even those 2%. No, it's still lower. And the chance of that specific sequence of events happening is around 1%. That's right, a 1% chance of happening. Imagine how unlucky you must be for that to happen to you, let alone in a professional tournament, let alone in the biggest tournament for Pokemon, let alone how unlucky it is that that happened in a top 4 of the Pokemon World Championships, the biggest tournament ever for a VGC Pokemon players. And you can see why this made him the most unluckiest Pokemon player of all time. His luck is so bad, in fact, that it actually made Game Freak buff the accuracy of Will-O-Wisp from 75% to what we know today at 85% accuracy in the very next generation. In the next game, they buffed it straight away. Aaron Zeng even said in an interview after the 2013 World Championships that the move is meant to have a 75% chance of hitting, but for me, it was more like 16%. So I just want you guys to imagine for 1 second how angry or mad you'd be if you had a move missed 2 or 3 times in a row in a Pokemon battle against your friends or on a battle in Pokemon Showdown. Now, just imagine how mad you would be after your move missed 5 times in a row in a tournament 1,000 times bigger than any other tournament imaginable on Pokemon, and then losing the whole tournament because of it. Yeah, you'd be pretty mad, wouldn't you? Especially considering that the percentage of that move isn't even that low to miss. It's only 25% chance of missing. That's not that high, and still, it missed 5 times in a row. Now, this particular incident has become quite a meme in the Pokemon community, and Aaron Zeng will never be able to forget about the Will-O-Wisp incident because of how big it is in the community. And an even more poetic event, in the 2023 Vancouver Regionals, a whole decade later since the Will-O-Wisp incident, Aaron Zeng went for a Will-O-Wisp, missed it. Of course he would, because why wouldn't he miss it? It's Aaron Zeng with Will-O-Wisp. There's no way he is not going to hit that move. And then, after missing the move, guess what happened? He got hit by a critical hit, losing him the game and costing him game 4 of the semi-finals of the 2023 Vancouver Regionals. Here, let me show you Aaron Zeng's incredibly awful luck with Will-O-Wisps yet again, this time a decade later.
Here, certainly not threatening a whole lot of damage or anything other than the Flare Blitz, and kind of as you mentioned, that comes at a cost, especially breaking that Gale Wings.
Yeah, especially, right? And you see that oftentimes with the Brave Bird as well, and that kind of just ends up being what does Aaron feel is important for his prioritization of the matchup, and what do you find more important? Will-O-Wisp, and it does avoid onto that Corviknight here. Corviknight's Brave Bird targeting down into that Brute Bond, and it's enough for the one-hit knockout. That burn was probably pretty big. A critical hit on top of it all. Nothing feels good about that turn for Aaron.
Oh, this is such a tough matchup to begin with, and yeah, everything going wrong on turn 1. Will-O-Wisp in the semifinals once again, and
what makes it worse is that if that burned hit, the Brute Bonnet there would have absolutely survived there. But it was just unfortunate the fact that he had to miss the Will-O-Wisp. It would have made sure that his Pokemon stayed alive. And then get a crit, which even if he hit the Will-O-Wisp, the crit would have ignored the Will-O-Wisp's condition, as, if you didn't know, burning an opponent Pokemon halves the amount of the attack stat. So, basically, Aaron Zeng got the worst outcome there that could have actually happened. I think that should be a sign to Aaron Zeng to never use Will-O-Wisp ever again. So, there you have it. A Pokemon player so unlucky, in fact, that it had the sequence of that events happening in him in the biggest stage imaginable was a 1% chance. A 1 in 1,000% chance of happening. And yet, it still happened to him. It still happened to him, costing him the game, costing him the region, costing him the World Championships, which is, as I said again, is the biggest stage imaginable for a Pokemon player, and competitively, it is seen as a titan of Pokemon Championship, Pokemon, because of competitive Pokemon, as that is what everyone aims for. That's where the top players always aim for. And imagine losing it on such an infamous moment of your Pokemon being unable to hit a single move which had a 75% chance of hitting. Yeah, you'd be very annoyed, wouldn't you? So, there you have it. A Pokemon player that was so unlucky, in fact, that the Game Freak, the developers of Pokemon, saw how unlucky he was and had to buff it in the very next generation to stop that from ever happening again. And it still wasn't good enough for Aaron Zeng. He's just got bad luck, really. He really does. But if you do enjoy this video, then do please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you do want to see more of this content, then leave a like on the video so I know you guys did enjoy this video. And leave a comment if you want to see more of this stuff as well, other players like this or other scenarios. Thank you so much for watching the video, and have a good rest of your day, and goodbye.